All right, start again. Feet flat on the floor, about hips width apart. Shoulders are aligned with the hips. Lengthening your spine, putting some space in between the vertebrae. Imagine this beautiful string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head. Beyond that, it just lengthens. So it's not, you're not like forcing yourself to sit up straight. It's just a sort of a stretching and lengthening and unraveling of all those little tiny muscles and nerves that are all around the spine. And bring your awareness to the crown of the head and just relax your scalp. Just let it go. And then see if you notice any sensation there, any feeling. And relax the forehead, the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the mouth, the jaw, and the back of the head. Relax the base of the head. It's the occipital bone area, and relax the neck, the back of the neck. Allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down. And relax the throat and the chest and the belly and all of your limbs. Notice the sensation of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling. And then be aware of any sounds in your environment. So those of you who have pets, people, little people, maybe you can hear neighbors. Ree's probably hearing a cacophony of different kinds of parrots, kookaburras, magpies. The sound I miss the most from Australia. And notice your olfactory senses. What are you smelling? Because that can also be a little bit distracting. Coffee, dinner, someone's baking something. Anyway, allow all of that just to be there, trying not to follow with the mind. And then notice the thoughts as they're arising. And try and put some space in between them. And think about the texture of those thoughts. You know, is the texture of an angry thought or a frightened thought or a worried thought, is that a different texture to a thought that's more virtuous or loving? Did you even notice that thoughts might have a texture? Perhaps they have a color as well. Just be objective about what's there. Don't judge it. Just be happy to see that it's there. And then bring to mind, you know, some people of your life, your loved ones. The ones that you know, really, really care about. And then there's the ones we don't care about quite so much. And then there's our strangers, and just realize they can all change place at any time. Regardless, they're all equal in their wish to be happy and their wish to be free from suffering and having this extraordinary capacity for this very precious enlightened mind. So think, there is no negativity that can't be purified. And we remember that this purification process is psychological. So what we're dealing with here is our mind, nothing else. And, we create negativity with our mind. We have all these kind of like sort of unhelpful habit energy kind of thoughts. They don't really serve us. But we can change that. We do have the power to change that. We just have to be aware of what's there. Once we develop that awareness, we can actually, we're quite free to deal with it as we need to. So we start with the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech. And then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we might experience. We know from any present suffering that we're having that we don't want any more. So we think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. So we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor who has the methods that we can use to purify. And we're not needing the Buddha to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by, relying upon the things he's suggesting that we do. So it's his medicine that we're relying on. So you imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. He has a beautiful, radiant face, and his eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. And he has this sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two. And this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened by this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva. May I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. And so then we have this little section here on compassion. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings and, beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us. And we just develop a wish for them to be free from suffering. So think particularly of someone you may have harmed recently and in the past, and maybe in general, all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then think about those who have harmed you, and then just have compassion for them, because the harm they've caused you is going to result as, suffering for them sometime down the track. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and just think, I must purify for their sake. And then we come to this power of remedy, and this is the medicine doing the practice of purification. And this, we start with the body. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. It arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space. Not one atom left as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And next is the purification of our speech. And Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking about people behind their backs, getting other people to agree with you, and our inappropriate speech and not knowing what to say at the right time, when to express our wisdom, when to sort of not express it, when's the best time to hold our tongue. So imagine all of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida meboa, Situkaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anurakta meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiata Sawakama Sita Me, Sitam Shriam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hompe, Ambadrasafa Samaya Manupalaya, Badrasafa Dina Patita, Dida meboa, Situkaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anurakta meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiata Sawakama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ah Hompe Ambadrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Badrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ah Hompe and Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasafa Dina Patita, Dina Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anurakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawakama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ah Hum Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified. And imagine it's not possible to do anything but benefit others now with your speech, and definitely including yourself, because you'll be hearing everything you'll say. And then also anything you write, social media, emails, letters, cards. And next is the mind, purifying our mind. So Vajrasattva now very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So it's the same as when you walk into a pitch black room and you flick on the switch, the light comes on and it instantly dispels the darkness. So it's the same here. The light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, and all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so all your attachment, the neediness, bitterness, grudges, anxiety, fright, all your worries, anger, jealousy, disappointments, all of this hurt, instantly dispelled. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ah Hompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ah Hompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ah Hompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ah Hompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ah Hompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ah Hompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita me boa, Sitokaya me boa, Sipokaya me boa, Anurakta me boa, Sawasidi me piyata sawa kama sita me, Sitam Shriam Guru hum ha ho bhagawan, Sawatata gata vajrama mimutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satra hum pe. And then be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And think that there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And this time, imagine that Vajrasattva sends light and nectar together. And these fill you completely and eradicate even the subtlest imprints of negative energy. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita meboa sutukaya meboa sipokaya meboa anurakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagawan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita meboa sutukaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anurakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagawan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anurakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagawan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anurakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagawan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anurakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagawan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anurakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagawan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anurakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagawan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata hum pe. So now feel completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to the power of resolve. And this is the fourth and final step in the purification process. And it's really crucial. This is this determination we need to make to not harm with our body and our speech and our mind, to refrain from harming. Because without this, we're just going to keep doing the same old stuff over and over again. So this aspiration kind of keeps us on track. So first of all, rejoice in your efforts to come here. For some of you here, it's lunchtime. For some of you here, it's way past your bedtime. Actually, for two groups of people here, it's way past your bedtime. For us here in the West Coast, it's coming up to bedtime. So thank you for coming, thank yourself for coming. Thanks everybody else for coming. And then think of something you'd like to work on over the next, 24 hours. So maybe even if you just for 5 minutes, 1 minute, think about something you'd like to work on. So Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wants to merge with your mind and melts into white light. and absorbs into you through your crown. And think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So we think a little bit about emptiness. In emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, even if it's just only the word you've heard, place your mind there for a little while. We can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. We can also think that the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So here we're doing our swift return prayers. So it's just chanting the names of Manjushri. The Buddha, endless and beginningless, the Buddha, at the start, devoid of sequence, with wisdom as his only eye, unstained, Tathagata, with wisdom as his body. The sovereign of all language, great debater, the king of discourse, best of orators, the best and greatest of communicators, the unassailable, the lion of speech. With universal vision, true delight, with fire garlands, handsome to behold, the endless knot, most radiant, great luster, with shining eyes in hand providing light. Okay, it does sound a bit like poetry, doesn't it? It's really interesting. Okay, everybody, let's just wish for His Holiness to live long, and for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and, for the long lives of all of your own precious teachers. And let's just congratulate Marion and welcome her back. Thank you, Marion.